those short living signs. Some of my Dollar Trees actually still have these. I don't think they had them this year, but I love using the cutout signs like this, and this is just kind of an idea of what you can do with them. If you don't have red, white, and blue, you can always paint them. And then I'm going to use some of these little misspelled signs from the Dollar Tree. I think my Dollar Tree had to stop carrying them. But basically, they're just woodblock signs. You could always use something like this. I think that might work as well. I like them because you can just pop the sign off of them and you have a little heavy-duty burlap sign. And I thought it would be cute to try to cut just the fun part, of those long, skinny signs off. And then you could have a cutout for a sign. That's kind of a hard thing to craft, is a cutout like that for a DIY sign. And so this is just a fun way to kind of do it. So I just take, I popped the sign off my burlap, and then I am just going to try to use my square ruler and try to cut this down to size using the sign for reference so I know how big to make it. And at first, I was going to try to reduce cutting. So let me show you how that looks like if you want to reduce cutting. I'm just going to cut it where it will overlap the three sides of it. That way, I only have to cut off the top and the bottom. And because I really only need the burlap to be behind the little cutout. I tried that at first to make cutting a little bit easier so you can kind of see what that option would look like. But then I didn't really want it to be rectangle. I kind of wanted it to be more square. So I decided to cut it a little bit more. A lot of you guys have asked what I use to cut my items. And I did buy myself a Ryobi miter saw at Lowe's, and I love that thing. But you can always use a little miter saw in a box. They're super inexpensive. So I'm actually going to cut it down to the size of my sign just to make me happier. And I like that better. Now I'm going to use that for reference to try to cut down my anchor. Now I kind of made a mistake right there because the anchor is bigger than the sailboat. So see how close the bottom came to that? Yeah, that's going to be a little close to cut there. Now, when you peel that sign off these, they do have little tiny nails sticking up, so be careful. As you can see, that anchor goes all the way to the bottom, but that's okay. I think we're going to make it work. I just kind of cut off a little piece of blue from the sign that's left over to try to fill in the gap. I guess I shouldn't have used the first sign for reference. I probably should have used the sign, because I didn't realize the anchor was going to be a little bit bigger, but that's okay. And then this one is the white shell. Whenever I see these red, white, and blue signs together, I always think 4th of July. And, I don't really like them as the long, skinny sign, unless you're going to add to them, of course, and make them thicker and stuff like that. But this is a fun idea to use those little cutouts to make something smaller. So we have our red, white, and our blue. Your girl's going to distress it a little bit. Can't resist. So I use a little white acrylic and a chunky brush, and we're going to distress the red and the blue to kind of give them a little bit more of a coastal farmhouse vibe. But see, you can definitely do the red, white, and blue with a more traditional color and still get your coastal beach vibe on. I'm going to distress the blue as well. And I did wipe off a lot of the distress. I just wanted a slight distress to break up, the blue on the red and blue on the sign from being also one color. And then the white I can't really distress with white, so I'm going to distress it with a little Antique Wax by Waverly. Kind of dry brushing a little bit of that on, just for a little bit more character. I just don't like how solid color those are, but I liked the red, white, and blue. Just wanted to add a little bit of character. And then we can attach these to our little signs. The burlap makes a perfect background. If you want to make your own little burlap sign, you could totally use the burlap rolls from the Dollar Tree. It provides a great backdrop for the cutout, for sure. And my little repair job for my anchor. And I'm just going to hot glue those on to our signs. Super easy. I did get these all together, and I didn't really like their shade of blue compared to the blue that we were using on the other DIYs. And I am going to kind of display them all together. So I do go in and distress it a little bit more with like a navy color to kind of tie it in with more of the darker blue that we've been using on these DIYs. Then for the shell, I thought we would add like a number 4. So using one of these little galvanized numbers from the Dollar Tree, I thought we could add a little coastal 4 right in the middle of the shell. Just a fun little whimsical touch. And I also wanted to add a little color, so I am just going to paint mine red. And I just hot glue that right on there. I like to use numbers and seasonal decor whenever I can. I always think it's fun. And this is how they turned out. Just a fun thing to do with the cutout signs. I don't have any of the laser cutters or any of those fancy things to make your own cutouts out of woods. So whenever I can find things like this in shapes that I like from the Dollar Tree, this is just a fun way to use them. And I put all of those fun coastal DIYs together in this cabinet. It's looking so cute.